What's going on, Culers? Welcome back to BlaugranaZzone, your destination for all things Football Club Barcelona. So now for the last month, the channel's been a little MIA between work and school, things flipping around, but now the dust has settled. I'm back with regularly scheduled uploads, so I hope you'll keep tuning in. So I've missed the last 3 games, right? The Newcastle game, we won 2-1 in the Champions League. Super exciting. Marcus Rashford burst onto the scene for us finally, right? I think this was his 3rd start when he got his brace against Newcastle. Took us across that finish line. Beautiful game. I have very little to no complaints about that game. The Getafe game, we won 3-0. Very comfortable win. Mind you, we did all these wins without Lamine Yamal, right? Who is scheduled to come back this weekend to at least travel with the team against Real Sociedad. And then we had the most recent game. We won 3-1 against Real Oviedo. Obviously, that Joan Garcia mistake, which pretty much assisted Oviedo for their goal. But if it wasn't for that goal, we would have been keeping a clean sheet in 3 of the last 4 games, mind you. And that 3-1 win was so impressive, even though we played a very, very, very bad first half, right? But that bad first half had nothing to do with our mentality coming into the second half. I think a very big piece that changed for us was removing Marc Casado and bringing in Frankie de Jong. I think it gave us a whole different midfield, a whole different layout of the game. It also gave the fans a different look, right? Because last year, a lot of people were, down to sell Frankie de Jong. And I think we're now realizing how important he really is, especially when you have a player of Marc Casado's caliber not performing to those standards, right? I think Frankie de Jong was the absolute decision maker, but don't get it twisted. Eric Garcia was still the man of the match. Eric Garcia is the one who kickstarted our comeback. You know, when you see Eric Garcia scoring a goal, you know we're going to come back and we're going to win the game. It reminded me of his goal against Benfica last year. It was lovely. It was very good to see our center backs getting in on the goal action because Ronald Araujo also got a goal in. Beautiful assist from Rashford. I think everybody had a pretty good game. Maybe not Dani Olmo, right? But this has been a thing with Dani Olmo and Fermin, who also, within this last time that I've been a little MIA, Fermin has been hit with the injury bug recently. So Dani Olmo has been the more prominent athlete in that cam position, right? But now the injury bug is coming back to bite Barcelona because Rafinha will be out for at least 3 weeks and Joan Garcia will be out 4 to 6 weeks. And that means that they won't play this Saturday against Real Sociedad and they won't play on Tuesday against PSG. What does that mean for our team? I think that means we will see a struggle. We won't get comfortable. We won't have these clean sheets, right? Like we were supposed to have against Real Oviedo. I think Tech will be our starting goalkeeper until Joan Garcia can come back, right? That's obviously what he's for. But what really concerns me about Tech as a goalkeeper is he hasn't really started for us since the Inter game, really. Like, it's been a minute since we've had Tech as our goalie, right? So I'm just not sure how it's going to be. But I want to give him some grace because last year he had spent the majority of the year in retirement, came back and swept all the trophies in Spain. So obviously he's more than capable of holding it down against Real Sociedad. But will he be capable of holding it down against PSG? That's what really concerns me, right? I know that, like leading up to these games, we've been talking about what if we get an injury at the center back position? What if we get an injury in the midfield position? But now we have an injury at the goalie and the wing position, which we weren't really ready for, right? Because now Rashford needs to step up. Rooney Bargi needs to step up. Lamine Yamal was injured, like I mentioned, but PSG or Sociedad will be his first game back. So we got to give these players some grace. He's not going to come back and be the amazing player that he was pre-injury, right? But then again, they said it was a back injury. So maybe it didn't affect his legs. I don't know. That's what I hope for, right? In my ideal world, Lamine comes back against Sociedad. He scores a brace in the second half because I don't think he should start just yet. But then he starts against PSG and scores a brace on Dembele's head. Even though I think Dembele will be out for that game. This is the thing about the PSG Barca game. So many players are set to miss the game. It almost makes it unwatchable for me, right? And I say for me because I like to watch Like, if my club is gonna verse another great club, I want them both to be at full strength. I don't want it to be they're missing 2 or 3 players, we're missing 2 players, we win, but then they're gonna say, oh, but you didn't versus with our best players, right? That's always gonna be the discourse. That's why I wanted our team to be at full strength, their team to be at full strength. Because right now, PSG is one of the best clubs in the world. You know, the Ballon d'Or ceremony was this last Monday. Dembele obviously won the Ballon d'Or, if you've been living under a rock. Lamine Yamal was runner-up, though. To be runner-up at 18, brother, what were you doing at 18? You know what I mean? But I have very, very high hopes for the team this weekend. This weekend against Real Sociedad. It's worth noting that Alejandro Balde will not be back. I think he might be back for PSG, but it might just be ceremonial, you know, just to travel with the team. But in his place, I think Gerard Martin has been playing very well. I think he did a good job against Newcastle. I want to say he held his own because he wasn't dribbled past, even though everyone thought Elanga was going to cook, right? The speed was just too much. You know what I mean? He couldn't handle all this Gerard Martin defensively. I think Araujo has been playing well. And, you know, Araujo's a player that when he plays like crap, we all get on him. And I'm the first one to do so. You know what I mean? I'm the first. All of last season, I was saying, get Araujo out of here. Ever since that PSG game 2 years ago, I've been saying, get Araujo out of here. But when Araujo's been playing well, I don't think he gets his flowers enough. And he played a great game against Real Oviedo this past weekend. So big up Ronald Araujo. I hope that he continues his form, you know. Because if he continues his form, that we can have him next to Pau Cubarsí, I think that should be our CB pairing, like our starting CB pairing, right? Because lately we've been seeing Flick rotate between Koundé, Araujo, Eric Garcia, Gerard Martin. Everybody's been playing every position except the left back, really. The left back has been reserved for Gerard Martin. But every other position, they've been rotating around. And I think that our game against Real Oviedo, where we had Gerard Martin, Pau Cubarsí, Araujo, Eric Garcia, I think that was our best showing defensively. Even though we had that mistake early in the first half that caused the goal. But that was more so Joan Garcia's mistake. Because we complained so much about Ter Stegen never leaving his line. But then we had Joan Garcia like 30 yards out. But yeah, no, that's besides the point. I think this weekend, though, Rashford will start. I think Rooney Bargy will get the start as well, right? And I think Ferran will start as well. Even though Lewandowski's been back, he has been a demon off the bench. A demon off the bench, right? The last game against Oviedo, he played very, very well. And I think that because he's getting up there in age, we should be playing him more in that role where he's coming off the bench and being a hero for us that way. I think that he can be much more impactful that way too, while Ferran is weighing down those former CBs, not former, rival CBs, right? He's kind of getting everybody slowed down, and then Louis comes in and just lays down the hammer on them. So I think Ferran will start, I think Rashford will start, and I think Rooney Bargy will start. In the middle, I think we will have Dani Olmo, obviously because Fermin has been out for us right now. I think Pedri and Frankie de Jong will start, and our back line will look like exactly the same as it was against Oviedo. Gerard Martin, Pau Cubarsí, Ronald Araujo, and Eric Garcia. In goal, we will obviously have Tech because Joan Garcia is not available. Now, at the left back position, we keep calling up Joffre, but we're not starting him or subbing him in. I would like this weekend, if Balde is not scheduled to come back against Sociedad or PSG, I want to see some rotational minutes for Joffre Torrens because we might have to depend on him even further on into the Champions League than originally thought. Because I thought Balde was supposed to be back by now. And if this brother's not back now, this could be a case just like last year with Casado where he had a 3-week injury. It turned into a 3-month injury. Obviously, I don't want that to be the case, but it could be because I thought he would be back by now. Either way, I want to see more Joffre rotational minutes. I want to see more Dro minutes as well, rotating with possibly Dani Olmo, because I want to see how he looks in that position. Especially being one of our young players, one of our gems of La Masia. I want to see what he can do there. Sociedad have not been in good form at all. I think they just recently won their first game of the league. We're 7 weeks in. So obviously I think Barca will win. It's only a matter of how and who will start. But I gave you guys my starting 11. Who do you guys think will start? Do you think that we win this game? And if so, how convincingly will we win it? Because I think that we win this game 2-1, right? And the only reason I'm saying 2-1 is because Lamine will be fresh coming back, right, from his injury. Rafinha and Joan Garcia will be out. And yeah, we just saw Marcus Rashford pick up form, but that's with a informed Rafinha, an informed Dani Olmo, an informed Lamine. How will he handle that pressure when it's just him, really? Well, him and Ferran. And, you know, Ferran is a streaky player already, so we don't need two streaky players out there, brother. We need you to be at your best. But even then, I don't know if that will be enough. That's why I'm picking Barcelona to win 2-1. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree in those comments. It's been great talking to you guys. I hope you tune in next week, and VISCA Barça.